Officers, you may take your seats. Good afternoon and welcome. I'm Sergeant Billingsley with the Lubbock Police Department Training Academy. I would like to thank you for joining us to celebrate the Lubbock Police Department's graduating class of 2023 Charlie. We are honored to have you here share in today's celebration. The process of becoming a police officer is challenging. These young officers have dedicated the last 30 weeks of their lives to the department and the citizens of Lubbock with countless hours of mental and physical preparation. For some, the journey began with the hopes of following in the footsteps of a loved one. For some, it's the thrill of fighting crime day in and day out. For others, it's the promise of a rewarding career with countless hours of opportunities. Regardless of the reason, we share one common goal: to serve and protect the citizens of Lubbock, Texas. At this time, I would like to introduce our Lubbock Police Department Executive Command Staff. If you don't mind holding your applause until all have been introduced. Administrative Assistant Police Chief Jonathan Caspel. Investigations Assistant Police Chief Neil Barron. Patrol Assistant Police Chief Nathan White. Executive Services Deputy Chief Matthew Doherty. And now I'd like to introduce the Lubbock Police Department Academy staff. These are the men and women who are directly responsible for training our police recruits. Our Training Academy Commander, Lieutenant Paige Fletcher. Training Coordinator, Corporal Jared Flood. Class Coordinator, Officer Jerry Mole. Academy Instructor, Corporal Mike Irby. One of our lead instructors, Tommy Prumer. And our recruiting team, Sergeant Carlos Pizzana, Officer Joshua Franco, and Officer Sharnice Scott. Our administrative assistant is Mrs. Joanna Vargas. And lastly, our facilities and range manager, Mr. Pat Martinez. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Lubbock Police Department Command and Training Academy staff. Now our honor guard will present the colors. Everyone please stand. All uniform personnel, attend. Hup. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and liberty and justice for all. Everyone, you may take your seats. I would like to take a moment to share with you some background information that led to these individuals sitting on the stage today. 97 people attended and took the entrance exam. 84 passed the written exam and moved on to the physical fitness test. 76 people passed the physical fitness test. Out of that 76, 17 passed the background investigation and moved on to the oral interview board. 13 passed the interview board and were given conditional job offers. 13 people started the academy on December 24th, 2023. Out of the 97 applicants, 8 are here to graduate today. That is roughly 8% of the original applicants who applied for this job. This is a true testament to the character, work ethic, and dedication of the final 8 here today. At this time, I would like to have Assistant Police Chief Jonathan Caspel to the podium. Chief?
Thanks, Sergeant. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the graduation ceremony for our rookies that are about to hit the streets. This is a very, very special day. I want to send a very quick thank you to some of the dignitaries that we've seen here today. Jared Atkinson, our city manager, Bill Howerton, our deputy city manager. We're blessed today to have a retired chief here, Greg Stevens. He is now the executive director for TCOL, which is our state licensing agency. He's come to see us today from Austin, and it's good to see him here today. And our DPS regional director, Joe Longway. Thank you all for being here today. This truly is a day to celebrate what you see on the stage here, and we get to welcome them to our law enforcement family. I'm here speaking on behalf of our new police chief, Seth Herman. Unfortunately, he could not be here today. He is speaking at a training conference in California. It's a commitment that he made before he was offered the job here. So he does wish that he could be here, and I'm confident he will be at our future ceremonies. We are excited to have Chief Seth Herman here. He has come to us from Midland with about almost 30 years in law enforcement, and he has already made great strides in the department. In just the very short time that he's been here, we can sense the morale boost, we can sense the changes that he's bringing to us, and mostly it's focusing on our people. And so we're really excited to be able to share Chief Herman with the rest of the community as you get to know him. When we were talking about who is going to step in as acting chief in his absence, when he mentioned that he was going to be in California, I asked him how long he was going to be there, and his reply was, "I'm only going to be there as long as I have to be. I don't want to be in California." And for those of us that know that soft, subtle little jab that our friends on the left coast know as you follow politics and law enforcement, what that means, I take that a second way as well, and that is that he wants to be here. He's a West Texas guy. He's from West Texas, and he would rather be here than anywhere else. And there's a reason for that. There's a reason why myself and Chief White, Chief Barron, and the people you see on the stage have chosen to be here in Lubbock, Texas. And really that's because we're biased, but Lubbock, Texas is absolutely the best city in the entire state and the entire country in which to do law enforcement, to do good, supportive law enforcement. This is where we want to be. And there are reasons for that. There are reasons that make Lubbock such a very, very special place. We have a ton of support here. Families, you'll realize that as you watch your loved one do this. We are very, very well supported here. First by a mayor and city council that are very good about providing the funds and the policies that we need in order to do law enforcement very well here. We have been privileged to work with some very supportive past mayors and councils. We just got a new mayor and a new city council has started. And the good thing about these mayors and city councils, when they come in, they all understand not just what it says in our charter, but the right thing is that public safety is job number one. And they take that very seriously. And we are very, very blessed to have worked in the past with some very good mayors and city councils. And we very much look forward to working with this new council to make sure that public safety remains job one. They have supported us not just with funds, with facilities. The new subdivisions that we have been able to open up, our new headquarters. We will soon open up our new property and evidence warehouse. The amount of support and funds that they have blessed us with in order to have the great facilities to serve our public does not go unnoticed, and we thank them so much for that. Our senior management team at the city is another reason that Lubbock is so special of a place to do law enforcement. Our city manager, Jared Atkinson, his staff, and Bill Howerton, Brooke Witcher, Eric Reheño, the department heads, human resources headed by Elizabeth Laura. We are so blessed here at the Lubbock Police Department to be part of such a great team at City Hall. We can sit down with, have robust discussions with, and find the right resources and tools to make sure our law enforcement officers have what they need. So thank you so much to our senior management team at City Hall. Still, the main number one reason why Lubbock is the best place to live, to raise a family, to do law enforcement is the people of Lubbock. The people that we partner with in our communities are good people. They deserve the very best in law enforcement, and they give us their support. Officers on the stage, you're going to find very quickly that Lubbock loves you and supports you in what you do. You are fortunate to be here. Within that community of the people of Lubbock are the families of law enforcement. So many of y'all here today supporting your loved ones. So thank you all for being here. You are just as committed now as your loved one is on the stage because you are now part of our law enforcement family. They can't do this alone. They need your support, and that's why you are here. Your loved one is joining the noblest of all professions, and you're doing it in the best place to do it. As the acting chief today, I can assure you that we are giving your loved one everything they need to do a great job, to be safe, and to come home safe at the end of every shift. We will see to their physical well-being and their mental well-being. You have our word on that. You're going to form memories of your loved one as they do this job. I know one of the memories that my wife shares about me many years ago when I was riding a beat as well, working midnight shift, having Saturday and Sundays off. She knew that everything was fine. She heard the of my bulletproof vest. 6:30 in the morning, I imagine that she had been up taking care of young babies in the house, trying to get some rest. And so I would always try and come in fairly quietly if I could. I didn't want to disturb her while she was sleeping. But every time that I was taking off the uniform, that bulletproof vest, you know the sound of ripping Velcro. There's no way to dampen that sound. But she says it to this day. When she heard that ripping Velcro sound, she knew that I was home safe and she could get better rest. You're going to form memories like that of your loved one when they come home. So cherish those memories as you support your loved one in this great career. Families, you are the canaries now. For those that know the stories of the coal miners that would go down into the coal mines many, many years ago, they would bring canaries with them. Sometimes down in those deep coal mines, noxious fumes and lack of oxygen could certainly affect the workers down there. And so they would bring canaries in cages with them. And when the canaries would start to react badly, start squawking, start having negative reaction to the environment, that was a warning. That was a warning to those coal miners that something is wrong and something needs to change. So lovingly, we look to you, the families, to be the blue canaries for your loved one here on the stage. You know them so much better than we do. And so watch your loved one, support them. And if you see a change in them, give us a call. Talk to your loved one. We have endless amounts of peer support here to help your loved one. Watch your loved one. Be that blue canary, be that love, be that support that they need, and speak up on their behalf. And now to the graduates. Congratulations. This is one step in the journey. You have a lot more to go. Gear up and be ready. The mission, the newly adopted mission of the Lubbock Police Department is our mission is to proactively provide outstanding services in partnership with the community and to foster a safe environment that enhances the quality of life. That's going to be the guide for everything that you do at this department, everything that you do in service for our community. And you think about that, it ends with a very key word in its life. You are joining a profession that is a life-saving organization. You are joining an organization and a profession that puts life above all else. So in all that you do, remember the preservation of life is what we do. The values that are guiding you in this are the department's values: service, accountability, integrity, and leadership. You know them very well, don't you, class? Service, always putting others above self. When you're responding to these calls for service and dealing with people in the community, remember, put their needs above yours. Accountability, make decisions and stand by them. Be accountable. At the same time, we will hold you accountable, and we expect you to hold us accountable. You have to be your brother and sister's keeper. Hold each other accountable. If you see an officer that is struggling or doing something that maybe they shouldn't be doing, it's your job to step in and be accountable. Integrity. You've seen it emblazoned all across the academy, haven't you? You will do the right thing always, even and especially when no one is watching. That's the definition of integrity. Take that to heart with you. And leadership. Leadership is very simple. It's influencing others. It is not power. It is not wielding power over other people. It is being humble and influencing others. You are all now leaders. And so we expect you to behave and act that way in all aspects of your life. And as you are developing leadership, remember this. Be skeptical of those that identify themselves as leaders. Leaders don't point to themselves and say, I am a leader. Leaders are pointed out by others. You'll never hear me, you'll never hear Chief White, Chief Herman, Chief Barron ever say, I'm a leader. We may be in leadership positions, but what makes us leaders is how we treat others and the humbleness with which we do that. Develop followers and strive to be that leader that others want to follow in all that you do. Some other points for you. Have relationships and hobbies outside of law enforcement. This can be an all-encompassing career. Have those healthy outlets. Let faith guide you if faith is your guide. Develop that. If it's family, develop family. But have those outlets outside of law enforcement. Maintain exercise and healthy habits. You've learned quite a bit, especially from Officer Matzik. Maintain those. Good diet, good exercise, good hydration. Take care of this machine, and it will take care of you, not just in law enforcement, but in life. So now you are part of our team. Be your brothers and sisters' keepers. Form those bonds that you need to do a great job. Back up your squad mates. Form those bonds. See to your own welfare. And make sure that at the end of shift, everybody comes home safe. Remember this, the golden rule we have adopted just a little bit and changed it just a little bit. Treat others the way that you would want to be treated, yes. But understand that when you are responding to these calls, that you are encountering what may be an easy, routine call for you. It's probably that person's worst day of their life. They are in crisis. They're calling you to fix something. This academy was hard for one reason, and that's to make sure that you don't quit until the problem is fixed. So, fix it. When you're dealing with someone and it's the worst day of their life, you can do even better than treating them better than you would want to be treated. Imagine if it was your loved one in that same crisis situation. We would tell you, treat that person the way you would want your loved one treated in that same situation. So may God bless you, keep you safe. Congratulations, and welcome to your new family.
All right. Chief Caspel, would you now issue the Academy completion certificates, please? For Class 2023 Charlie, Officer Paul Carrillo. Officer Louis Felix. Officer Samantha Gonzalez. Officer Cody Gray. Officer Ernest Oliphant. Officer Michaela Pena. Officer Juan Urrutia. Officer Quan Wooten. And lastly, from hiring class 2024 Alpha, Officer Kevin Moore. Now, Moore was already a licensed police officer from the state of Oregon, but he promises me he got here as fast as he could. Due to him being a previous law enforcement or having previous law enforcement experience, he went through our abbreviated academy and is now licensed through the state of Texas. Out of each academy class, one officer is selected to give a speech on behalf of their class. Ladies and gentlemen, from class 2023 Charlie, Officer Oliphant. There you go, buddy.
Good afternoon, everyone. Chief, Assistant Chief, Deputy Chiefs, Academy leadership and staff, distinguished guests, family, friends, and loved ones of our graduating class, we made it. It's been a very long and interesting journey for each of us with the officers that sit before you today. I personally have learned something from each officer graduated here with me today. We've had our highs, we've had our lows throughout this academy, which has been challenging in very many aspects. I've oftentimes had family and friends ask me which is harder, basic training or the Lubbock Police Academy. My answer, the Lubbock Police Academy. It's one thing to train for war that you only experience every other year. It's another thing training for dangerous situations that can happen at any time, any moment, on shift at any time. To know what to look for, trusting your instincts, and having the training that we've received from these officers to fall back on when we really need it the most is what I hope each officer will demonstrate as we begin our FTO. Speaking of each officer here, I would like to take a moment to provide a bit more insight about the officers who sit before you today. Officer Wooten, our class physical fitness stud and motivator. In fact, when most of us were running from PT, Officer Wooten was running towards PT. Officer Wooten was the only one in our class to accept that challenge from Officer Matzik. Officer Wooten is also a veteran of the United States Army with multiple combat tours under his belt as he continues to have selfless service in this great city that we call home. Officer Wooten stated that his motivation for graduating this academy was his daughter Ivy and his mom Stephanie. Officer Wooten would like to thank his family and friends for their prayers and support throughout this academy. Next, Officer Pena. Don't be fooled by the size of Officer Pena. As they say, dynamite comes in small packages. Officer Pena actually had the second highest defensive tactics score in our class, which says something about her willingness to not give up and see things through. It was hard enough in the academy learning to speak another language, only to find out that the new generation coming up has their own language. I've had to learn different phrases from Officer Pena, such as, that's cap. Or she says, that's feta. Or when someone makes her laugh, she says, I'm sick. So Officer Pena continues to teach us phrases and slogans from this new generation, and I encourage her not to lose sight of herself and her personality as she furthers her career in law enforcement. Next, Officer Urrutia. A very headstrong, and although we know he means well, Officer Urrutia has gotten us in trouble at the academy a couple times. You'll notice by the laughter of the officers on the stage that I'm telling the truth. Officer Urrutia is also a veteran of the Army with combat tours underneath his belt. Officer Urrutia wants to thank his wife for her strength, service, and responsibility while being in the academy, and he wants her to know that it has not gone unnoticed. Lastly, to his son, Officer Urrutia strives to be the best father that he can be for you. Next, Officer Felix, or as some of the instructors call him, our Canelo. Officer Felix had the highest defensive tactics score out of our class. Officer Felix started out very quiet, as sometimes we would often forget he was in the same break room as everybody else. But he ended up being a very strong voice of support through his actions and commitment throughout this academy. Officer Felix was motivated to complete this course by his wife and his child. Next, Officer Gonzalez. Officer Gonzalez brought her knowledge of the penal codes to our academy, as she was already a licensed officer throughout the city of Brownfield. When we all needed to know something as a class and what specifically the book stated, we would seek out Officer Gonzalez's knowledge of penal code, traffic, and all things being a police officer. Officer Gonzalez was motivated to complete this academy as she drew strength from her family and especially her mom. Next, Officer Carrillo, a very active member of Jiu-Jitsu, and in fact, one officer that none of us wanted to face in defensive tactics because we didn't want to get rolled up into a pretzel with his skills. Officer Carrillo is also a veteran of the United States Marines. Officer Carrillo has combat tours under his belt. Officer Carrillo was motivated to attend and successfully complete this academy by his family, friends, and especially his daughter. Officer Gray, the pillar of our class's success at the academy. Officer Gray's calm and caring demeanor throughout this academy was greatly appreciated by all of us. Officer Gray was motivated to complete this academy through the strength and support of his family and friends. Officer Gray, I'm sure I can speak for us all and say we appreciated the corniest of jokes that you had in the break room to break the silence when everybody was nervous to take an academy final. Last but not least, myself, I too am a veteran of the United States Army with 15 years of great service to this nation and 5 total combat tours in both Iraq and Afghanistan. I wanted to say that I hope I'm making my wife, my kids proud and setting a good example for them. I would also like to thank my wife for working a full-time job, keeping the household together, supporting our kids, and helping me stay up until 2 o'clock in the morning studying after you already had a full day's work. So thank you, dear. I appreciate it, and I love you. As I bring this speech to a close, I would like to take a moment to speak to anyone in the audience or who's watching online. If you are motivated to become a Lubbock police officer and you hope to see yourself wearing this badge one day, I encourage you to apply. If for some reason one day you find yourself on the Lubbock Police Department's Facebook page and you come across an officer that looks very familiar to one of the officers on this stage and he's giving you the workout of the day, please take his advice and get started on that workout as soon as possible. If for some reason you don't take that advice and you show up to the academy unprepared, as our sergeant would like to say, it's all right, it's okay, don't worry about it. Because when you show up to the academy, you're just going to spend a little bit of extra time with that officer as he breaks down each individual movement of that workout until you get it right. You might notice that one of the officers here from the academy looks a lot nicer than some of the officers on the stage. I encourage you future recruits, don't be fooled by his cool and calm demeanor because you will see this officer every day for formation. And if you've never had to repeat something back verbatim, I highly suggest that you start practicing now. Because if you don't, again, as our sergeant will say, it's all right, it's okay, don't worry about it. Collectively as a whole, you'll just spend a few extra moments with this officer in the morning before you're released to class until everybody gets it right. You might have noticed that I mentioned our sergeant, who sits on this stage, who's also a Marine, and who embodies the term command presence. Future recruits, if you've never heard that phrase before, I've just given you a hint to go look up that definition of command presence. And make sure that you memorize that before you start the academy. Because if you don't, again, as our sergeant will say, it's all right, it's okay, don't worry about it. He's just going to go send you back to that nice officer who you'll spend a little extra time with in the morning before you begin your classes each day. You might have noticed that the instructors on the stage from the academy may have looked like they are hand-forged from a solid piece of steel, and I agree with you, that's exactly the experience that we received from the academy. These officers on the stage, Officer Prumer, Officer Mole, Corporal Flood, and all the other academy staffs are examples that we as rookies can hope to achieve one day. Family and friends, academy staff, class 2023 Charlie, we made it. Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we will now have the badge pinning ceremony. We would like to ask a family member or a member of the family to come to the stage and pin their officer's badge. Come on stage. 2023 Charlie, post. Class, take seats. Throughout each academy, there's always certain individuals who stand out as leaders and excel, going beyond what is required of them. It is usually those individuals in the group that act as the glue that binds the class together. This graduating class is no different. We have had 3 officers in particular excel, showcasing their desire to succeed, along with their ability to hold the class together during the most difficult of times. At this time, we'll recognize the officers who have shown individual excellence in these specific areas. The first award to be presented is the Physical Training Award, and to present this award is Officer Michael Irby. Corporal Michael Irby.
Good afternoon. The Physical Training Award is awarded to the person who is a strong leader, puts forth maximum effort each training session, as well as motivating their classmates to become their best. They embodied their physical training program. They embodied what the physical training program was designed for, to provide the citizens of Lubbock with a physically fit and well-trained force that is ready to safely respond to and handle any emergency situation. The Physical Training Award for the class of 2023 Charlie is awarded to Quan Wooten. I'll also be giving out the Top Shot Award. The class of 2023 Charlie conducted over 100 hours of firearms training. At the end of this training, the cadet with the highest shooting average and top shot is Ernest Oliphant.
The next award is going to be the Academic Award. To present this award is Officer Tommy Prumer.
Good afternoon, everyone. During their time at the Lubbock Police Academy, Class 2023 Charlie has attended more than 1,000 hours of classroom training. This training consisted of over 50 separate classes such as penal code, arrest, search, and seizure, traffic code, code of criminal procedure, and many others. The officer with the highest academic average for Class 2023 Charlie is Officer Samantha Gonzalez with an average of 95.
And the last award is the Honor Graduate Award. To present this award is Officer Jerry Mole.
Good afternoon, everyone. The Lubbock Police Department's values, as Chief Caspel just said earlier, kind of stole my thunder, but they are integrity, accountability, leadership, and service. The honor graduate is the individual recruit who exemplified these values throughout the academy. The honor graduate is selected by those who know them best, their classmates, and we as an academy staff agree with their selection. It is my privilege to present the honor graduate for Class 2023 Charlie, Ernest Oliphant.
At this time, Chief Caspel, would you like to administer the oath of office to Class 2023 Charlie? Class, attend. Hut.
On behalf of Police Chief Seth Herman, if you're willing, raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office of police officer of the state of Texas, and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States and of this state. So help me God. Congratulations.
Class, be seated.